Okay, everybody. Today I'm with Jim Chester. I'm Dr. Kevin Jarina, and today we're talking chiropractic hustle, Chiro Hustle. And Jim has an amazing story. We met. Oh, Jim, when did we meet? How long ago was that?
Well, we met at a rugby alumni symposium, I think about 2015,
That's
and it was in Davenport, Iowa.
that's exactly right. That's exactly right. And I remember very specifically that you knew all my buddies, and I was like, "Who is this guy? I need to get to know this person."
hmm
So
And recently we've been laid over for like 3 to 4 hours in Victoria, Canada, at the airport.
that's exactly right. That was a beautiful layover, actually. One that was enriching rather than detracting. So I really enjoyed our
Yeah,
experience.
we had a chance to do some deep dives with each other and get to know each other and make the most of a layover rather than lamenting being stuck in the airport.
Yeah, and that was really a rewarding experience. And that kind of goes along with what we want to talk about today. Essentially, is making life what is it? Making lemons out of life versus wait, what is it? Making lemonade out of your lemons in life? Is that how it goes, Jim?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah. So give us a little bit about what you're doing today. Where are you in your life? What have you become? And then I like to kind of see where you were years ago and some of the things you've had to overcome to get to where you are today. So tell us a little bit about yourself.
Awesome. I think this will be a really fun journey with you today, Dr. Kevin.
Yeah. Yeah. Thank you.
So, what you were talking about is when life gives you lemons, you make lemonade. And you were mentioning, a little bit about the mental subluxation and, what it means to like have a meaningful connection, doing meaningful work, and being able to actually do something that you're excited to be participating in. And it's not drudgery and it's not something that's not fun. So I think with Hustle, we've created a platform a little bit to help chiropractors unite, but we've also found meaningful work and a group of people that I can work with that I appreciate. So a little bit about myself. Grew up in Davenport, Iowa. I don't many of the people that are going to be watching your show or listening to your show, if they don't know, but that's where chiropractic, the profession, was founded.
Right.
And, a lot of people don't know that. So, Davenport, Iowa, chiropractic started, and that's my hometown. So that's kind of like the upstart of Jim Chester. Now I'm 40, working in chiropractic for a decade now, honestly. It's been 10 years, man.
And just to clarify for the audience, you're not a chiropractor. Is that right?
No, I'm not a chiropractor, but I got to learn about what made this profession so unique. And as we walked down that boardwalk in Victoria, Canada, we were discussing these types of concepts of how I've been able to study the chiropractic profession from a distance as a journalist, be able to get the chiropractic story from documentaries to podcasting to selling, and understanding the profession from the inside of different groups of strength in the chiropractic profession, and seeing where all of them are kind of going towards and where we've all come from.
So this is powerful for me personally, Jim. Now, the audience doesn't know I'm a doctor of chiropractic, and what makes Jim such a force in our field is that he comes from outside. He came in, he got help with chiropractors. If I remember the story correctly, your friends helped you out in need, helped you have some employment, gave you experience, and through that you started to witness and experience the miracles that happen through chiropractic. Is that accurate?
Yeah, when I was 16, I got injured playing high school football. I'm sure that storyline kind of talks to a lot of people that have become chiropractors, actually.
Yeah.
But I got injured, and I went in and got my mom talked to my athletic trainer in high school, and he's like, "Hey, why don't you go over and get some x-rays of yourself at Palmer?" Well, I went to high school right across the street from Palmer. Seriously, like you can walk from one to the other just crossing the street. And when I was going to Davenport Central, my athletic trainer said, "Hey, why don't you go over and get an x-ray of your shoulder?" Anyways, my mom took me over to Palmer. They x-rayed my shoulder. Then they asked her if they could x-ray my spine and check me out because I might have something that back in the day I didn't know what the hell the word was, but it's called subluxation from my injury. And I was like, my mom said yes. anyways, 10 years down the line, 15 years down the line, I did work at a chiropractic office. And it wasn't because it was like the number one thing on my priority list. It was like something pushed me, a force, to go work in a chiropractic office. Then something pushed me, a force, to make a movie. Then something pushed me, a force, to start selling chiropractic and helping chiropractors with that aspect of the profession. So it wasn't always my decision. Sometimes it was a force that led me in, whether it was the injury, the job opportunity, the documentation of the profession, or starting teaching chiropractors how to sell chiropractic services.
So it's this, the word you're using for me, and the force, I use that, the word I use is a calling. And it sounds like life circumstances caused you to have to look out of the box that you were currently in. And you were driven, you were pulled, you were called towards, and it happened to be different chiropractic pieces of the puzzle.
Yeah, each one had a different reckoning for me. And I honestly, until talking about today, I didn't realize how much of a force or a calling it was for me to get injured. I don't know, to work in an office, to make a film. I mean, all these different benchmarks are how we came to 10 years of working in the profession, and been a patient. Well, I'm 40 now, so whoever's out there can do the math. My first adjustment was 16.
Mm-hmm. And so now you're a chiropractic advocate. I know you help doctors connect with new patients. Tell us a little bit more about Chiro Hustle itself.
So we made a film called Chiropractic, the documentary, released it back in 2015, early 2016. And we did a job that I thought was very much necessary to tell the story of chiropractic. And then our ambition is, we just finished our second film called Project Patient, but I was like, what can I do in the middle of these two films? So that's when we started the whole Chiro Hustle movement. And it came to me as an epiphany because I had already been hustling for 2.5 years, selling chiropractic services all across the Denver metro area. Sometimes I'd travel outside of Colorado, but generally all the work I did for 2.5 years was hustling. And I was just driving in new clients, new patients into chiropractic offices. And I didn't even realize how powerful that work was until I started posting on Facebook, like, hey, just signed up 49 new ones today. And people were blown away with those results. And I'm like, people can't do this. They don't know how to do this.
Wow.
So I felt that there was a need to bring something to the marketplace that taught chiropractors how to do what I was doing. So that was the hustle of the sell. That was the hustle of the filmmaking, and then creating the podcast. I wanted to give value in between film 1 and 2. And that's really why we did 600 interviews in 2 years.
So yes, you've done an amazing job. I know I've been following you for quite some time, and because of what you've been doing has got me into and connected to different networks, which have helped me blossom personally. So this is a big thank you to you, Jim. Thank you. And for those who don't know, and this is as a chiropractor, sometimes it's hard to connect where the average person, or even not the typical person, is. But when they don't know what chiropractic is, or they just think it's for neck pain or headaches or back pain, what are the couple key points that you've discovered or have put together that really help connect those dots for everybody out there?
Well, there's a simple thing I probably shared with you in the airport was most people just don't know where to go or who to trust. And if they're not buying from a chiropractor, they're buying from someone else, something else. And if we don't deliver them natural health care, then they will be misled with some type of artificial means of propping themselves up, which is whoever's wearing the white coats are the ones telling them what health is, when no one's ever told them that the number one doctor is the one inside of them.
It's critical.
And that once you start playing the game right with the number one doctor who's inside of you, you need less guidance from other people, and whether that be a chiropractor or whether that be other medical provider. Once you start taking care of you and the source, you have less need of anybody supporting your health except for what you need. I mean, we're all going to have traumas and toxins and different things like that along the way. That's why I think that it's necessary to stay adjusted and to be consistent with care.
Right, right. I agree. So, of course I agree. I'm a chiropractor and I see this and I've been studying this, though if I could relate what you're saying, it's kind of like allowing an acorn to grow into a tree, and therefore it ultimately has the potential to grow into the forest. It doesn't need extra work. It has all it needs within itself.
Well, you don't have to go look at a tree and tell it to grow.
That's right. That's right. It's pretty intuitive there. Though if it never was stated, I know I never considered it. I didn't even know what chiropractic was until I turned how was I 20 years old, and my only reference to chiropractic, I believe at that time, was a Simpsons episode where Homer pushes somebody over a trash can and you have the chiropractic mafia. And so I really didn't get it. I thought it was backcrackers, woo-woo stuff. I didn't understand that we are nature too. And what's affecting me from being my best self was I was burdened with toxins and interference to my spinal cord, and known as subluxation. And of course the negative thoughts and that type of stuff. So Jim, you're doing an amazing service out there. So, you mentioned you had a shoulder injury when you were 16. And that got you into the chiropractic clinic. I'm sure you got adjusted at that point and whatnot. What was some of the things that helped you transform? I know you connected with one of our fellow rugby buddies, and that you worked at one of his clinics, but what really turned you on to become your version of what you are now?
Wow. Well, it was about 10 years ago. I was back in Davenport, Iowa, and I was like, well, what can I believe in? And I was really, it was a belief system at that point. What can I work towards that I believe in 100%? And what do I want to do with my time and focus my career on? And I was like, well, out of all the things I had been influenced by, chiropractic was one of those things that I was just like really spellbound by, that it had such a potential to help people and it was so misunderstood. And it's like, if I can give this profession more clarity and I can teach people how to understand the profession with a different way. I mean, that's the thing, is like the big idea is something that's been established for a long time. If people don't know what that is you tell one person, they tell the next, we get a healthy city, healthy state, healthy country, healthy world type thing. It's like a chiropractic utopia. But when I was thinking about working in a chiropractic office, I was like, man, everybody here understands it because we educate them. But if I went across the street to the sandwich shop and I said, hey, who knows what a subluxation is? See, it would go on deaf ears. Because the conversation of what the profession is to the conversation of what the public understands are two different things.
Right. And
so we need to do a better job.
Right. And I believe, and I know I see you this way. I see you as a bridge between the chiropractic profession and the public. Because there's a loss of communication, there's a mistranslation in there somewhere, or there's a misperception in there. And that, we can call that a subluxation in itself, though you're helping share the story, help clarify what the truth is or what chiropractic really is delivering.
I believe we take a very unbiased approach. I mean, we are advocates for the profession, so there's that bias. But we take a very unbiased approach when we get a chance to talk to the chiropractors.
There's a little one, they're home.
But being able to talk to the different chiropractors. I mean, we've done 600 interviews in the past 2 years. So when you get that type of volume of work, you're going to start understanding some things about the profession when it comes to their self-esteem, when it comes to their success, when it comes to their education market. So we've been able to understand chiropractic as almost like an analyst. And I do think that there is a bridge that needs to be gapped between what the chiropractor thinks and does for their group of chiropractors to meeting the actual public out there and say, this is what we do. I know you don't know where to go or who to trust, but we can help you.
Right.
And I think we have, once we connect that dot, now we have success in the chiropractic profession. We take the power back and the profession becomes stronger than the education resource.
Right, exactly. And it's a game of awareness, it's a game of information and knowledge. And I know you're helping chiropractors themselves understand that better to communicate, because sometimes we get lost in the knowledge and the book stuff and how to deliver and run a business and all the things that hats that need to be worn. There's a lot behind the scenes that the average person doesn't know. Though I do believe that business people understand the complications that go on in managing a business. So, anyway, moving forward. So Jim, now that you have 10 years ago, you've decided to serve chiropractic, work in the chiropractic field in some manner, in some way. And now where was some of that struggle? Where were you having a difficult time making that breakthrough before Chiro Hustle became, the name that it is now and the notoriety that it has now? What was some of the harder times for you? Where were you stuck? And I ask this question because, like many people, including myself, we have these moments in life where things tend to be going well, and then there's all these roadblocks. And then something has to happen. And then once that happens, there's a breakthrough into that next level of greatness of who you are. So what were some of the things that you had to do to overcome those challenges in your life?
Well, I talk about this in some of the speaking engagements that I get, and I tell this $3 story.
Okay.
And it was December 24th, 2015. I was in Denver, Colorado, right by the University of Denver. They call it DU. And I'm a stone's throw from the college, and I've been living here now for the past past year or so in this little 700 square foot apartment. And I'd been working at an office as a tech about 3 miles away, and I was driving the same thing every day. And I got to the point where we weren't becoming profitable as a practice, and I felt like my contribution was I was doing a lot of goodwill for the place, but I wasn't making a lot more money. So I had to figure out if I was going to stick around in the chiropractic clinic arena or if I was going to step out. And I talked to my best friend back in Davenport, Iowa, who's a professional musician. He's like, dude, you're really good at scheduling people in. Why don't you just branch off and start your own thing? He's like, because if that's what I did, he's like, I'm a musician and I branched off and started my own thing. And now I have my own like tour circuit that I follow. And I have all these private clients that take care of me. And I just go out there and play for people. He goes, why don't you just base what you do on chiropractic marketing and create a little circuit they can go on and get clients and go out there and do what you're best at and help them. And I was like, okay. So I was going to take the whole month of January of 2016 off. And I realized I was going to run out of money. And I was either going to have to go back home to Davenport, Iowa to said best friend musician's house and live in his attic that was unfinished, or I was going to go back to bartending, which I did for a decade before I got into chiropractic. So I was crossing the roads as to, am I going to go sell chiropractic? Am I going to go back home and wave the white flag of surrender? Or am I going to go out there and sell chiropractic, which my best friend tells me I should do? So the $3 story narrative goes into this. I got enough events between January 12th, 2016 and February 1st, 2016 to pay my bills and stay in my 700 square foot apartment with $3 left to my name. So that's a huge struggle, I would say. And before I knew it, I had 30 clients.
Wow, that's amazing. And so, if I could highlight, you took a step into faith, and you reached out to your friend. You got advice, and like you said, you could have waved the white flag and done something you knew how to do. Though it wasn't your calling. It wasn't the highest, your highest service to the world, so to speak. And you took that action. You stepped into that with some faith, and yet here you are. Now you have all kinds of clients. I know you travel around North America, Canada, and probably other places as well. And it took a little bit of effort. Maybe it took a lot of effort. So tell us about, you started to secure some clients, you started to get some momentum. What did you have to do to continue to grow yourself to get to this place of, and if I could comment, I see you're doing, because your work is related to social media, you need to be on social media. And I see you responding and posting in videos and interviews more than almost anyone I've ever come across. So tell us what was some of either the motivation or the realizations that put that fire under your backside to get you really going and really feel that power that you have now?
I appreciate you saying that stuff too. Because a lot of times my day to day is I have fun doing what I do. Honestly, I have fun engaging with an audience. I have fun producing content. I have fun selling chiropractic. I have fun traveling around and helping chiropractors and doing speaking engagements and selling events and things like that. I love it. The rise to the top has been through consistency. One of the things I tell people in kind of joking manner is I'm a cleaner. I found something that no one else wanted to do, and I learned how to do it so damn well. Now I'm teaching other people how to become cleaners. And when you have a system that is misunderstood or poorly attributed, like a chiropractic screening, most people historically have not liked doing those because of the brand equity of them to the subluxation of the mindset for the practitioner. So most times the chiropractor's like, I don't want to go do this because it sucks. Well, what if I can show that you can go do that and you can make an extra $10,000 to $20,000 on a weekend? I don't think it would suck anymore.
No, that's a joyful moment instead of it sucking. And I can relate to that other place completely. So number one, you found something that you're excited about, that gives you a smile, gives you purpose in life. And then you just worked on consistency, if I could paraphrase that.
Yeah. I didn't pick any of this stuff really. When people say I didn't pick chiropractic picked me, I didn't pick any of this stuff. I've been getting lucky enough to have good awareness, to make good decisions with discernment, to say this is a good path for me and I love what I do. So it became just a matter of chance, but it was because I was paying attention daily and communicating daily and building a community daily that's why these opportunities are here today.
Well, I've heard from a famous person that I love in my life, when preparation meets opportunity, success happens. I believe that was Dr. Fred Schofield, if I could quote him or paraphrase him. And so when I hear the word luck, I don't believe that there's luck. I believe there's opportunity. And if I'm ready, and you said the key words for me, awareness and discernment. Those two things are critical. And I think personally, just in general life, we all need more awareness of what's going on inside of us, outside of us, and of course, discernment, how to make a good decision, what's a good decision, what's a logical decision, even if it's a chance. Is it something that you're passionate towards? And is it something that you could really get into, wake up every day and be happy that you're doing something like that? So to me, that's exactly what you did. And to me, I feel the people that have the most success in life, the most joy in life, that's what they've chosen to do. And that's how they've gone about it, whether they did it consciously or by happenstance. They had that same kind of quality that you just described right there. So what kind of things or what kind of encouragement would you have for anybody out there, whether a doctor, a general person out there, to recommend them or advise them to kind of make their vision, like you have, come to fruition?
First things first, don't be afraid of yourself. You're more powerful than you know, and you have everything inside of you that you possibly need. You just have to refine it and give yourself permission to be great. I've learned that from John DeMartini when I first met him. He's like, you have to give yourself permission to be great. And that struck me because when I was a kid, permission to me meant asking to do something that I either had to get approval for or something I might get in trouble for if I didn't. So as I became an adult, I'm like, give yourself permission to be great. Is this something I have to get approval for? maybe it's for myself. Is
Right.
this something that I have to get permission for so I don't get into trouble if I do it? Maybe for myself.
Mm.
So when I thought about that level of like permission based approval for success, I just couldn't fear myself.
Right.
And I had to know that I was more powerful than anybody ever knew. And then one of the other things I took away is people all the time, they limit themselves by saying no. And I started telling myself yes more often.
Mm.
And I noticed when I started switching gears from telling myself no and living in a lack state of mind and a scarcity state of mind, and I shifted that to saying, whatever I have, I'm enough and I have abundance within me. And anything that comes to me, I'm willing to take it on because I'm capable, I'm highly skilled, and I'm trained. And this is basically, I gave myself permission to take more responsibility
Mm.
and just stop worrying. I stopped worrying about things that I didn't have or things that didn't happen or the way that people interacted. And I just started focusing on what Dr. Fred would say is mochichu,
Hmm.
moving forward without hesitation.
Right. Right. Exactly. Wow. That's so beautiful. Thank you for saying those things. You gave yourself permission to be great and throw away the worry, focus on how you can be effective, how you can be a provider, how you can serve in something that you have passion towards. So, Jim, thank you so much for those wise words of advice. And is there anything else you'd like to say? I think we have a information and value packed conversation here that I know I'm going to re-listen to and get a lot of benefit from. And I'm hoping everyone who watches this gets the same.
Well, the in closing, I just like to say thank you for hosting me for an interview on your show. And there was a great man named B.J. Palmer that said, "You never know how far reaching something you say or do today may have an impact on millions of lives tomorrow." And I think that that's what we need to do. We just need to keep seeding positive information so people know where to go and who to trust. And we just need to start building our communities on a micro level. And then we need to start letting those communities nurture. And then we need to start helping each other a little bit more, forgiving ourselves a little bit more, and just realizing that you can find your soul genius and you can work hard and you can find meaningful work and you can earn well doing what you love to do and you can build the network of trust and value. And I think in 2019, the more that we realize that we have these free resources to us like social media, we can start building relationships on that macro level. And then we can start building these communities. And then we can really create the big idea that I was talking about earlier from BJ Palmer. So the more that we take care of each other, that's the biggest blessing. And I think that, like one of our mentors says, we're more alike than we are different. And that's Ed Osborne. And I really believe that
Yeah.
we are more alike than we are different.
I agree wholeheartedly, and you're 100% right. I'm going to end with this. You never know how far-reaching something you say, think, or do may affect the lives of others out there. Thank you, Jim Chester, for being with us. Ladies and gentlemen, what a blessing to have Jim on our show today. Thank you for tuning in. We'll see you next time. Blessings.
Thanks, Doc.
Okay, sweet Jim.